Captured on videotape, California sheriff's deputies beat suspected illegal immigrants from Mexico. Criminal investigations are now underway. Also tonight, the new Mayo contraceptive. Dr. Bob Arnott will tell you how it works and how reliable it may be. And Eye on America, a rare look inside what's called the common law movement, vigilante justice run by hate groups that hold U.S. law in contempt.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting tonight from Washington.
Good evening. It's a case reminiscent of the Rodney King beating. Law enforcement officers in California chased down a couple of suspects, pulled them out of a car, and beat them. The suspects this time are Mexicans, the officers Riverside County Sheriff's deputies. And once again, correspondent Sandra Hughes reports cameras were rolling.
TV news cameras captured the beating from all angles. A Riverside County Sheriff's deputy clubbing a suspected illegal immigrant, then turning his force on a female suspect. From another helicopter camera, the tape reveals a series of blows by the same officer as the suspect lies face down on the ground, apparently offering no resistance. A second officer slams the woman's head into the hood of the truck. Even the sheriff's office said it was shocked by the graphic pictures.
We didn't like what we saw. We were seriously concerned about what we saw. We were concerned about our officers' actions, and we were embarrassed for our department.
The incident occurred after an 80-mile chase through 2 counties. Police say the suspects threw beer cans and the truck swerved erratically, sideswiping other vehicles. When the pickup finally stopped, 19 Mexican nationals bailed out, only to be quickly captured. The man suffered a hairline elbow fracture and is still hospitalized. The woman, his common-law wife, was released from custody this afternoon. Her lawyer described her injuries, which he said were unprovoked.
She's very shaken up. She is in great pain. She has trouble walking.
The videotaped beating generated a chain reaction of protests across Los Angeles.
We condemn what took place yesterday because it's a violation, a very clear violation of the civil rights.
It was a hate crime towards people of color, and this is no different from the case from a few years ago in which Rodney King was beat senseless.
The 2 officers, one with 20 years experience, the other with 5, are suspended with pay and are subjects of internal as well as criminal investigations. The reverberations of this incident have reached all the way to Washington, where the FBI formally opened an investigation into criminal civil rights violations. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
As correspondent Hughes reported, this case began with a chase at high speeds that went on for some 80 miles. And it is once again focusing attention on the impact of such chases, both on police officers and on the suspects that they're trying to capture. Correspondent Bill Whitaker has been looking into that part of the story.
It all looks so painfully familiar. Police using shocking force caught on videotape. Yesterday, this beating. On Valentine's Day, down the road in Orange County, police corner Korean national Hung Il Kim after a harrowing 100-mile-per-hour chase. When he still won't stop, they open fire, killing him on the spot.
Shots being fired right now.
You know, the penalty for not pulling over or not yielding to a police officer is not death.
They're like harsh shades of the best-known case of police brutality, Rodney King. But also like King, these occurred after dangerous high-speed chases, which police say puts them in some of the most unpredictable and stressful situations. Joseph McNamara is a former police chief.
The adrenaline is pumping very hard. It's a dangerous situation. The police are angry because this is defying their authority.
But a study by the Los Angeles ACLU found that suspects often end up getting hurt not during the chase, but after they've been stopped by police.
We call it high-speed pursuit syndrome, and you see this in case after case after case. This is a national problem from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Keys out the window! No!
In South Carolina recently, a highway patrol officer who was caught by his own car-mounted camera abusing a woman who had failed to pull over for speeding was fired from the department. McNamara says that kind of discipline is a step in the right direction.
The management has to change the culture of these departments so that the officers understand it's not their job to punish people. When they do, then the public can't tell the good guys from the bad guys, and all of policing suffers.
But police say it's hard to watch a suspect flee. Sometimes it's hard for us to watch when they don't. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Potentially key testimony today in a Little Rock, Arkansas courtroom. David Hale, who's had his own problems with the law, but is now the government's star witness, testified in a fraud trial. It is the trial of President Clinton's former Whitewater partners. Hale pointed a finger directly at President Clinton, as we hear from Rita Braver.
David Hale today testified for the first time that 10 years ago, then-Governor Bill Clinton urged him to make a covert loan of $150,000 to Clinton. Hale claimed that at a meeting with Clinton and his Whitewater partner, defendant James McDougal, Clinton said, "My name can't show up on this." The money was to be funneled through McDougal's former wife, Susan, who is also on trial. Hale has not presented any evidence that Clinton got any of the money. But Hale ultimately loaned Susan McDougal $300,000. He has also previously claimed that at a different meeting, Clinton pressured him to make the loan, which was never repaid and which is part of the fraud case. Hale is a former municipal court judge and banker with a checkered past. He was interviewed about this case in 1989, but never mentioned Bill Clinton until recently when independent counsel Ken Starr closed in on Hale for fraud. Author Gene Lyons has covered Hale extensively.
Well, his reputation in Arkansas is what you'd expect for a man who created 13 dummy companies, lent himself money to all of them and defaulted on the loans. He's also a guy who, believe it or not, was successfully sued for defrauding his mistress's grandparents.
The president has previously called Hale's charges a bunch of bull. Mr. Clinton is not charged in this case in any way, but will testify in a videotaped deposition as a witness that's expected later this month. Rita Braver, CBS News at the White House.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News tonight from Washington, Gulf War Syndrome, the Pentagon's conclusion today about this mystery illness, and the convicted child molester who warns he could strike again unless the government agrees to castrate him.
Easter dinner. Baked ham, potatoes. Yeah. But you're really missing out without delicious French's green bean casserole made with crispy, crunchy French's French fried onions. As much a part of Easter as the bunny.
Monday, I soak my dentures.
I use DentuCream.
Tuesday, I brush.
I use DentuCream.
Wednesday,
Stop. Just use DentuCream. Its special stain fighters clean much better than soaps, and it's got minty mouthwash ingredient. All you need is DentuCream.
Thank you. Whoa! Ooh. Since when do you eat garlic?
Since I got a handle on my heartburn.
Oh, so you're taking that medicine Mom used to take?
Zantac? Prescription Zantac? No. My doctor said Pepcid AC is all I need. You know, to control my occasional heartburn and acid indigestion.
Doctor, really?
Yeah, he said it controls acid for 9 hours all through the night. It can stop heartburn before it starts.
It stops heartburn before it starts? Oh, so you can have those double cappuccinos afterwards.
Sure. I'm in your pain.
Yeah, you're dreaming.
Ask your doctor. You can be heartburn-free with Pepcid AC.
The U.S. Defense Department has completed what it calls a wide-ranging investigation of what's known as Gulf War Syndrome. The results are not going to satisfy thousands of veterans who are convinced their health was affected by their service in the war against Iraq. Correspondent David Martin has the story.
Right! After examining nearly 19,000 soldiers who came home from the Gulf War complaining of everything from diarrhea to memory loss, the Pentagon today released what it calls a definitive study, concluding American troops were not struck by a mystery illness.
We have found no indication of a unique illness or a Persian Gulf syndrome.
The symptoms veterans complained of, rashes, muscle and joint pain, headaches, are as real as a broken leg. But after spending 2 years and $80 million, the Pentagon cannot link those symptoms to a specific cause like toxic smoke from the oil fires.
If the symptoms are real, but there's no Gulf War syndrome, then what does the Pentagon think happened when it sent 500,000 men and women to the Persian Gulf?
When you send a large number of healthy young people off into an extremely dangerous and stressful environment, surprise, surprise, some proportion of them come home with a variety of illnesses.
But many veterans believe there is a Gulf War syndrome caused perhaps by chemical weapons. One investigator claims fallout from bombing Iraqi chemical weapons dumps drifted down over American troops, and that the Pentagon knows it.
The Pentagon has lied after every war, and after every war we've believed them, only to later find out that our soldiers suffered terribly and that we were lied to.
The Pentagon may have produced the definitive study of Gulf War syndrome, but it will not be the last. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Investigators from the United Nations War Crimes Tribunal moved out into the Bosnian countryside today under the protection of U.S. troops. Until now, NATO forces were reluctant to get involved with the search for mass graves in Bosnia, but as correspondent Alan Pizzi now reports, it comes with the territory.
American soldiers today began the one job of Bosnian peace enforcement they never wanted, assisting war crimes investigators. U.S. troops will provide what they call general security for the investigators, which means sitting back at a distance with armor and attack helicopters.
I'll be the 911. If they need me, they'll call and I'll respond.
The U.S. military says it will not guard mass graves, dig for bodies, arrest suspected war criminals, or protect witnesses.
What I'm doing here is no different. It's routine. It's exactly what I've always done for the past 3 months.
I-4 is all the investigators will have to ensure the sites they are working in are not disturbed.
And we really would like that you respect this working area. We will put yellow rubble around it.
War crimes investigators make everyone here nervous. Anything they find means an indictment, and the chances of suspects being apprehended are increasing. Today, the first public testimony began at the tribunal in The Hague. Initial investigations in Bosnia will focus on 8 suspected sites, places where evidence has sat for months and years, silent testimony waiting to be heard. The war crimes investigators can start work now because until a few weeks ago, this corner of hell had been frozen over. But with the spring thaw, what had been mere stories and rumor may become horrible reality. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, near Srebrenica.
President Clinton said the U.S. mission in Bosnia would last about a year, but today his NATO commander said no decision has been made on exactly when to pull out. U.S. Admiral Leighton Smith said many options are possible, and the decision to stay or go next winter will depend on a number of indicators, including, he said, gut feeling. Running hard for re-election, Russia's Boris Yeltsin today began picking up the pieces of the old Soviet Union. In a glittering Kremlin ceremony, Russia and the Republic of Belarus were rejoined in a new economic and political union. It was blessed by the Patriarch of the Russian Orthodox Church. Poland's Lech Wałęsa, who lost his re-election bid last year, went back to his old job at the shipyard today. Wałęsa says he's broke. He wants Parliament to vote him a presidential pension. Otherwise, he says, he'll have to go back to work as an electrician.
For years, in your passion for performance sedans, you look to Europe. Now there's Pontiac Bonneville SSEI. With 240 supercharged horsepower, it outperforms some of the world's fastest performance sedans. For proof, call 1-800-443-4444 for your free Bonneville information package and official test results. Find out how the new Pontiac Bonneville makes your passion painless, but no less intense. 1-800-443-4444.
After the other day, I have a whole new appreciation for Advil. You see, I used Tylenol for headaches, but with this new job, my headaches were really bad. They were just too much for Tylenol, even extra strength. I was telling my doctor about these headaches. She said definitely Advil. On tough headaches, 2 Advil work better than any 2 extra strength Tylenol. Was she right? Advil just works better.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
I'm using Pam, the only leading all-natural cooking spray to cook a low-fat feast. Pam lets the natural flavors come through, so nothing comes between you and the taste of your food. Pam.
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
Thursday, has this doctor found a cure for cancer? She says it saved her life. So why does the government want to take her medicine away? 48 Hours, Thursday.
Federal agents are investigating possible links between a pair of bank robbers in Spokane, Washington, and the group calling itself the Free Men of Montana. Various sources tell CBS News correspondent Jim Stewart that two masked men who robbed a bank and set off a pipe bomb told witnesses they were acting on behalf of the Free Men. About 100 federal agents surround the ranch. Members of the hate group inside are fugitives wanted on charges ranging from threats to public officials to financial fraud. Later on tonight's broadcast, taking the law and punishment into their own hands. Eye on America, a little later, will look at what's called the common law courts of the Free Men and other white extremists. Texas prison authorities today delayed the release of a child molester who says he's doomed to victimize more children. The inmate, who was about 2 hours away from release to a halfway house when the prison door slammed shut again. The prospect of the convict's release is terrifying some Texas parents, as we hear from correspondent Bob McNamara.
3 blocks down the road is the bus station.
Every day in Huntsville, Texas, more than 100 inmates leave the state prison free. In a few days, they could be joined by this man, convicted sex offender Larry McQuay.
You realize you're every parent's nightmare, don't you?
Yes, I am. I know that.
McQuay says he has molested more than 200 children. He promises there will be more victims unless he is castrated.
I'm not going to take the chance of molesting any more children.
But 3 years ago, the state refused his request for surgery. Now Texas is in trouble from parents angry that McQuay could go free.
He has been pleading for help and threatening or promising to hurt our children. We have to recognize that, and we are foolish and liable if we don't.
Victim advocate Pam Lickner has received letters from McQuay saying his child molestation may escalate into murder. Today, Texas prison officials said McQuay's release will be delayed until investigators determine whether his threats to molest again should lead to a longer term. In the meantime, the McQuay case has stirred strong feelings.
Just put your name.
In the neighborhood where McQuay will make his new home, people circulate petitions and worry aloud.
Who is to blame if one of our children are the next victim?
Armstead Road in Dallas County.
Here, where radio stations read sex offenders' names and addresses on the air, inmate releases have become cause for daily alarm, and paranoia has become part of being a parent. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Dallas.
A major right to die ruling today. A federal appeals court struck down New York State's ban on doctor-assisted suicides. The court said doctors have the right to prescribe drugs for mentally competent patients who want to die. Today's decision is similar to one made last month that terminally ill patients in Washington state have a constitutional right to die. Up next, a breakthrough in birth control technology. Medical correspondent Dr. Bob Arnott has the word on a contraceptive for men.
If you've been drinking Ensure, there's a little something you should know. Sustacal has more protein, less fat, and about twice as much calcium. No, Sustacal can't add years to your life, but it might help add life to your years.
I've got one chance a season to make this course look beautiful. You burn your lawn, your neighbors see it. I burn this, millions see it. You want to take chances? Go ahead. Me, I use Scott's.
Turf Builder has Scott's mistake-proof granules. They feed when the grass needs it. No over or underfeeding like you can get with ordinary fertilizers.
It's not like golf. You can't make it up on the next hole. You don't want to blow it? Use Scott's.
Mistake-proof granules. That's the Scott's difference.
How's your job?
Great. There's still a lot of stress, though.
You still getting those headaches?
Yeah, I actually went to the doctor. I thought they might be migraines. He said they weren't. He told me to take Tylenol, extra strength.
Tylenol? Not some prescription.
Oh. The Tylenol works great, Dad.
More than aspirin, more than ibuprofen. For headaches, doctors recommend Tylenol the most.
You should have come to work for me, Julie.
Oh, sure. No stress there.
From an extraordinary place, an extraordinary coffee. With a gourmet taste, not a gourmet price. Yuban. 100% Colombian coffee. The richest coffee in the world. The price tamed. The spirit intact. Yuban.
Some people said they couldn't do it just because they were women, but they knew better. America's first female doctors. Tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
Reliable birth control for men. For decades, it's been considered a goal that perhaps could be achieved sometime far in the future. But tonight, there's word that British researchers may have developed a safe and effective male contraceptive. Our medical correspondent, Dr. Bob Arnott, has the story.
This little white tablet is more explosive than dynamite.
30 years after the female birth control pill gave rise to the sexual revolution, the World Health Organization announced today a highly effective means of reversible birth control for men.
They show for the first time that it works in nearly 99% of men. It shows that it is equally effective as the female contraceptive pill.
The 399 men who participated in the study took a weekly injection of the male sex hormone testosterone to decrease the number of their sperm to extremely low levels. Doctors examined the subject's sperm count monthly to be certain that conception would not occur.
It's the first demonstration of actual efficacy for any male method since the development of the condom.
Carl Howard participated in the study.
I think it's very long overdue. The alternatives for men are very few and far between. It's a condom or nothing at all.
Planned Parenthood, long an advocate of shared responsibility for contraception, applauded the new method.
We're very excited that there seems to be a breakthrough in long-term contraception for men because it gives men more options and it certainly promotes their responsibility.
Early clinical trials are already underway for a more practical 4 times yearly injection. But men will still have to adjust to a new idea, side effects from contraception, which range from acne and changes in mood to weight gain, similar to those women suffer with a birth control pill. Dr. Bob Arnott, CBS News, New York.
President Clinton finally got to open the baseball season in Baltimore today, foiled by the players' strike and owners' lockout last year, and by rain yesterday. The left-hander from Arkansas delivered a high changeup to Orioles catcher Chris Hoyles. After that, it was play ball at Camden Yards.
I thought, well, if I try hard enough, I can't. I might be able to get it.
All she did was study.
I just can't get it.
Study.
I hated school.
Study.
I gave up.
That's when we turned to Sylvan for help.
The first thing we give them is self-esteem and confidence.
At Sylvan, Colleen was learning the way Colleen needed to learn.
We have a much happier child now.
I can.
Now I'm getting A's.
That's my boy.
At Sylvan, we guarantee to make a difference.
Sylvan Learning Center. Call 1-800-EDUCATE today to be connected to the center nearest you. That's 1-800-EDUCATE.
To build something that endures takes hard-working people. People who care. People with vision. And the strength to see the job through. We know. Since 1904, that's how we've built a name for ourselves in financial services. Providian. Insurance, credit, and retirement savings.
Ma, if you have trouble sleeping, take a Unisom. It helped last time, didn't it? Didn't you feel better after a good night's sleep? It's okay. The doctor said it's not habit forming. That's right. Unisom. Ma, there's nothing wrong with helping yourself get a good night's sleep. All right? I love you too.
Are you taking chances without a calcium supplement? It could take 20 years to find out. By then, it may be too late. Which one should you take? Oscal. Oscal is tested and proven effective in clinical studies and doctor recommended for pennies more a day. Don't take chances. Take Oscal.
Ah, Easter dinner. Baked ham. Potatoes.
Yeah.
But you're really missing out without delicious French's green bean casserole. Made with crispy, crunchy French's French fried onions. As much a part of Easter as the bunny.
In tonight's Eye on America, we want to try to put in context for you the so-called common law movement. This is a kind of vigilante system few knew about until the standoff in Montana between the FBI and that armed anti-government hate group. The system is more widespread than you might imagine, run by people who not only ignore established U.S., state, and local laws, these are people who say they have the right to make their own rules for other people. Richard Threlkeld has the results now of an Eye on America investigation.
In a bingo parlor in Ohio, these people are taking an oath to become members of a so-called common law court, a legal system all their own, where they can take out their anti-government grievances by taking the law into their own hands. It's the newest doctrine of the white extremists, citizen juries dispensing vigilante justice. Two things to know about the common law courts movement. It is violent, and it is growing. Common law court juries like this one in Ohio are now busy handing down homemade indictments in 30 states. The self-styled Chief Justice of Ohio's common law courts is an unemployed carpenter, Bill Elwood.
We have been deemed to be dangerous. Dangerous to who? I'm not dangerous to you. I'm certainly not dangerous to myself. What I'm dangerous to is the power that has been exerted over the people.
But some of the movement's activists have proved dangerous enough. When an Ohio patrolman stopped Michael Hill for a traffic violation, Hill pulled a gun and the patrolman shot him dead.
Yes, this is just typical government persecution because...
In Missouri, after they arrested this activist, Richard Juice, one of his accomplices, Timothy Coombs, allegedly shot and wounded a patrolman and is still at large. Thomas Moyer is the real Chief Justice of the Ohio Supreme Court.
While we say there shouldn't be any violence, there also should not be persons allowed to just thwart the law and thumb their nose at the law, literally.
And if it's not outright violence, it's the threat of it. Marty Bethel, a local judge in Montana, now carries a gun around.
I've had anonymous calls from people warning me that they were going to firebomb my house.
In Columbus, Ohio, the extremists now have a wanted poster out for Police Sergeant Mike Daly.
If you're not on board with these folks, then you're the enemy.
And the movement has no trouble getting converts, like those who showed up for this seminar in Wichita by one of the common law court gurus, Eugene Schroeder.
You can't charge us with a crime. We reserve that right to ourselves.
It's no comfort that there are no more than perhaps 16,000 activists nationwide.
They're only really the tip of the iceberg. There are tens of thousands of other people out there that are cheering them on, if you will.
What worries the authorities beyond the standoff in Montana is that the common law court movement and the violence that goes with it is becoming all too common. In New York, I'm Richard Threlkeld for Eye on America.
And that's part of our world tonight. First thing tomorrow, CBS This Morning. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting from Washington. Good night.
We told you about the hormones that make you fat. Now the next big step is about to be announced. A new drug that blocks fat hormones. A breakthrough